Let me ask you something. Have you ever gone to bed thinking, I hope tomorrow is different, but then woke up and lived the same day all over again? Same worries, same thoughts, same version of you. You see, most people want their life to change, but they forget that words are what start the change. Because words shape thoughts, thoughts shape actions, and actions shape your destiny. So today, I'm giving you one sentence, just one, that can shift your future by tomorrow morning. The sentence is this: I am becoming the person I've always wanted to be. Say it again, slowly. I am becoming the person I've always wanted to be. Now pause for a second. How does that feel? It's not just a sentence. It's a declaration. It tells your mind change is already happening. Most people make the mistake of saying, I will become, or I want to become. But the brain doesn't respond to the future. It only listens to the present tense. When you say, I am becoming, your subconscious begins to believe it's true, and it starts adjusting your habits, emotions, and opportunities around that truth. Think about it like planting a seed. When you say, I am becoming confident, that seed starts growing. When you say, I am becoming disciplined, the roots start forming. When you say, I am becoming successful, you start to act like it before the world even sees it. Let me tell you something powerful. Change doesn't begin when results appear. Change begins when your language changes. There's a story about a man who wanted to transform his life. He was broke, lost, and tired. Every night, before he slept, he looked in the mirror and said, I am becoming the man I'm proud of. At first, he didn't believe it. But day by day, his choices began to match his words. He started waking up earlier. He began studying. He stopped arguing about things that didn't matter. And within a year, everything around him changed, because everything within him did. Here are some key points related to this. Triggers transformation instantly. 3. Use present tense language. Your subconscious responds to what feels real now. 4. Change begins internally before external results appear. 5. Repetition builds belief. Say it daily until your actions match your words. 6. Your future listens to the words you speak today. Words create reality, and most people underestimate just how literal that truth is. Every word that leaves your mouth is like a seed that lands in the soil of your mind. Some seeds grow into courage, confidence, and self-belief. Others grow into doubt, fear, and limitation. The tragedy is that many people spend their entire lives watering the wrong seeds without even realizing it. They say things like, I'm not good enough, or I'll never make it, and those words quietly become blueprints to their destiny. You can't speak defeat every day and expect victory to show up. There's a story about a young woman who used to say, nothing ever works out for me. She said it so often that it became part of her identity. When she lost a job, she'd whisper it again. When relationships failed, she'd repeat it like a sad mantra. One day, a mentor asked her, what would happen if, instead of repeating that sentence, you said, everything is aligning in my favor? She laughed at first. It sounded fake, almost foolish, but she tried it. Every morning, she stood in front of the mirror and said, everything is aligning in my favor. Weeks later, she noticed her energy changing. She walked into interviews with more confidence, spoke with more life, and noticed new opportunities she used to overlook. The world didn't change overnight. Her words did, and her world followed. Think about it. Every invention, every movement, every revolution began with words. Someone once said, I can build this. Someone once said, we can change this. Words are bridges between imagination and reality. When you say something long enough, your brain begins searching for evidence to support it. It filters your experiences, your focus, even your memory, to match what you keep saying. Psychologists call this the reticular activating system, your mind's internal filter. Tell it, I'm unlucky, and it'll find proof. Tell it, I'm capable, and it'll find doors you never noticed before. Your words are not just sounds. They are frequencies that carry intention. When you say, I'm tired, your body responds. When you say, I can handle this, your strength rises to meet your belief. That's why some people can walk through storms with peace. They've learned to use words as anchors. Even ancient wisdom reflects this truth. In Scripture, it's written, "Life and death are in the power of the tongue." It's not metaphorical. It's energy in motion. What you declare over yourself becomes the weather of your mind. If you constantly speak clouds, don't be surprised when your days feel dim. But if you begin to speak light, you'll notice it breaking through, little by little, until everything looks brighter. Imagine a sculptor standing before a block of marble. His chisel is his word. Every strike, every declaration, shapes the masterpiece within. That's you. Every I am statement you speak is a strike on the marble of your life. I am strong. I am becoming better. I am unstoppable. Keep carving, and soon the image of your potential begins to appear. You don't need to see the final form to trust that it's emerging. You just need to keep speaking it into being again and again until your words and your world finally look the same. The sentence, "I am become the person I've always wanted to be," may sound simple, but it carries the power to reshape an entire life. It's not just affirmation. It's transformation in motion. Those words tell your mind that growth isn't some faraway dream. It's happening right now, in this moment. Most people wait for permission to change. They wait for a sign, a new year, or someone else's approval. But this one sentence eliminates the waiting. It reminds you that the process has already begun the moment you speak it with belief. Imagine someone standing in front of a mirror after years of disappointment. They failed, made mistakes, lost confidence, and now they barely recognize themselves. When they whisper, "I am becoming the person I've always wanted to be," something soft but powerful stirs inside. It's not about pretending to be perfect. It's about recognizing that change doesn't require arrival. It begins with direction. Each time they repeat it, their energy shifts, their shoulders lift a little, their eyes start to focus again. Because that sentence tells a truth their heart has been craving to hear. I am not stuck, I am becoming. Think of a caterpillar. It doesn't say, "One day I'll be a butterfly." Its transformation begins in silence, but it's already happening. The same is true for you. The moment you declare, "I am becoming," you enter that invisible cocoon of growth. You might not see wings yet, but your inner self is already forming them. Every day you speak that sentence, you're reinforcing that metamorphosis, shaping your habits, your mindset, your spirit. I remember a man who struggled for years with addiction. He would say, "I want to be better," but that phrasing kept him stuck in wanting. His therapist once told him, "Stop saying, 'I want to be better.' Say, 'I am becoming better.'" At first, it felt dishonest. How could he say that while still battling his demons? But she explained, "You're not lying, you're declaring movement." He began repeating it daily, even on bad days. Slowly, his choices began to reflect his declaration. He attended meetings, rebuilt relationships, and each time he stumbled, he got up faster because he believed he was becoming. Within a year, he was free, not just from addiction, but from the old version of himself who believed he couldn't change. That's the secret hidden inside this one sentence. It tells your subconscious that you're in progress, not in paralysis. It shifts your identity from who you were to who you are evolving into. And when identity shifts, behavior follows naturally. You no longer force change. You embody it. When you say, "I'm becoming confident," your posture adjusts. When you say, "I am becoming disciplined," your actions align. When you say, "I am becoming peaceful," even chaos begins to lose its grip on you. Those words plant the idea that your story isn't finished. It's unfolding. You stop seeing yourself as a problem to fix and start seeing yourself as a masterpiece in progress. You stop waiting for the future to prove your worth and start living as proof that you're already on your way there. Because the truth is, you don't become great someday. You become great the moment you decide that you already are, and you let every word you speak carry that truth forward. The reason present tense language is so powerful is because the mind doesn't understand the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined in the now. When you say, "I will become," you're giving your dreams a date they can never reach. Tomorrow, it will still be, "I will." Next week, it will still be someday. But when you say, "I am becoming," you pull the future into the present. You tell your subconscious that change isn't waiting to happen. It's already happening. The brain begins to adjust everything, your energy, your behavior, even the way you see yourself, to match that statement. It starts looking for proof that your words are true, and when it does, your entire reality begins to move toward it like a compass finding its north. There's a powerful story about a man who wanted to lose weight, but had struggled for years. Every morning he would say, "I will get healthy." And every night he would feel guilty because that day looked just like the last. His coach stopped him one morning and said, "You keep telling your brain that health is in the future. That's why it never arrives. Try saying, 'I am becoming healthier every day.'" He resisted at first. It felt like a lie. But the coach smiled and said, "It's not a lie. It's a direction." He started saying it every morning. "I am becoming healthier every day." He said it when he chose water over soda, when he went for a walk, when he forgave himself for a bad meal. Weeks passed and something changed. The weight didn't just fall off his body. It fell off his mind. He stopped chasing results and started embodying the identity of someone who cared for his health. Months later, he didn't just get healthy. He became a healthy person. That's the difference between saying, "I will," and saying, "I am." Your subconscious mind doesn't operate in the future. It listens only to what you declare as true right now. When you say, "I am confident," it doesn't argue. It starts looking for ways to make that true. When you say, "I am becoming successful," it begins aligning your focus toward opportunities you once overlooked. It's like changing the lens of a camera. Suddenly, what used to be blurry becomes clear. You can see this pattern everywhere. Athletes visualize victory before the game, not after. Speakers say, "I am ready," even before stepping on stage. Entrepreneurs say, "I am building something great," long before anyone believes in them. They understand that reality bends toward language spoken with conviction. The present tense gives your dreams oxygen. It makes them breathe. The phrase, "I am becoming," turns hope into movement. It transforms waiting into living. The moment you say it, your energy shifts from lack to growth, from distance to presence. And when you begin living as if what you want is already unfolding, you stop asking when and start realizing now. Because change never happens tomorrow. It always begins in the only place that truly exists, this moment right here, right now. Change is a strange way of working. It doesn't start when the world notices you. It starts long before that, in silence, when no one's watching. People often think transformation begins when success shows up, when others finally recognize their growth, or when life suddenly feels easier. But the truth is, change always begins inside, in moments of quiet rebellion against your old self. It starts the day you decide, deep down, that you're done living the same story. It starts when you shift the way you think, speak, and see yourself, even when your circumstances haven't caught up yet. Think of a seed buried underground. On the surface, it looks like nothing is happening. The soil is dark, silent, unmoving. But deep beneath, that seed is breaking apart, pushing against resistance, reaching for light it can't yet see. The transformation is invisible, but it's real. The roots form before the sprout appears. The same thing happens with you. Before the world sees your growth, you've already been breaking, stretching, and rebuilding from within. You've been reprogramming your mind, reteaching your soul to believe again. I once heard a story about a man who wanted to turn his life around after losing everything: his job, his marriage, his confidence. He started small. Every morning, he'd get up early, sit quietly, and tell himself, "I'm rebuilding my life." He didn't have proof yet, just a belief. Weeks passed, then months, and still nothing visible changed. But something within him was shifting. He stopped speaking like a victim and started thinking like a creator. He began taking small steps, applying for new jobs, eating better, reading more. One day, someone asked him, "How did you change everything?" He smiled and said, "I changed myself first, long before anything else did." That's how it works. Inner transformation always precedes outer manifestation. The world teaches us to measure progress by what we can see: money, followers, recognition. But the most powerful changes happen in places no one claps for. In your thoughts, your discipline, your attitude. You can't post that growth, but it's the kind that lasts. You can't fake it because it's built in silence. In the private conversations you have with your doubts, in the moments you choose to keep going when no one believes you, that's where strength is born. There's a reason why every great tree spends years growing roots before reaching the sky. Without the unseen, the seen cannot survive. The same is true for personal growth. The external success you dream of is just a reflection of an internal shift that already began. When you start speaking differently about yourself, you plant the roots of your new life. When you start believing that you're becoming someone better, even before it's visible, you water those roots with faith. And then one day, without realizing it, the world finally notices. They'll say, "You've changed," but you'll smile because you'll know the truth. That change didn't start today. It started long ago in the unseen world within you when no one was watching, and you chose to believe that you could become more. Repetition builds belief, and belief builds reality. It's not what you say once that changes your life. It's what you say every single day, especially when it feels like nothing is changing. Words are like drops of water hitting stone. One drop does nothing, but over time, they carve canyons. That's how belief works. The more you repeat something, the deeper it sinks into your subconscious until it becomes part of who you are. Every great transformation, every lasting change, begins with a single phrase repeated often enough to become truth. There's a story about a young man who used to stand in front of the mirror every morning and whisper, "I'm not enough." He didn't even realize he was doing it. It had become habit. One day, his mentor overheard him and said, "Every time you say that, you teach your mind to believe it, but you can retrain it the same way you train it to doubt you." The mentor told him to replace the phrase with, "I am becoming everything I'm meant to be." At first, the words felt empty. He said them with hesitation, even embarrassment. But he kept going. Every morning, every night, over and over again. Weeks passed, then months. Slowly, his posture changed. He spoke differently, walked differently, made decisions differently. One day, he looked in the mirror and realized he didn't have to say the words anymore to believe them. They had become part of him. That's the quiet magic of repetition. Your subconscious doesn't learn through logic. It learns through consistency. It doesn't care whether something is true. It only cares whether it's repeated. If you tell it you're weak long enough, it will make you weak. If you tell it you're capable long enough, it will make you capable. That's why affirmations work, not because they're magic, but because they're mental conditioning. Just like muscles grow through repeated movement, the mind grows through repeated messages. Think about a song you didn't like at first, but couldn't stop hearing everywhere, on the radio, in shops, in cars. Eventually, you caught yourself humming it, even singing it. Repetition had changed your relationship with it. The same thing happens with your thoughts. The more often you hear a sentence, the more familiar it feels, and the brain loves what feels familiar. So when you keep telling yourself, "I am becoming," you make that identity feel safe, real, and inevitable. It's easy to give up when you don't see results quickly. But the truth is, change is like erosion, invisible until it isn't. Every repetition wears away the old belief a little more. Every declaration builds a stronger one in its place. Some days, you'll say it with passion. Other days, with doubt. But every time you say it, you're building something inside you that no one can take away. One day, you'll wake up and realize the belief has taken root. You'll catch yourself thinking, choosing, and acting like the person you once only dreamed of becoming. That's the quiet reward of repetition. It turns hope into identity. It transforms words into truth. And it reminds you that you don't need instant proof of progress. You just need enough faith to keep saying it until your life finally starts echoing back the words you once whispered in doubt. Your future is always listening. Every word you speak becomes an instruction, a whisper sent forward in time, shaping the path that waits for you. Most people think the future is some distant event that happens later, but in truth, it begins with every sentence you speak today. The words you repeat form the blueprint for the life you'll eventually live. When you say, "I can't do this," you build walls around your potential. When you say, "I'm figuring it out," you open doors for possibility to walk through. Your future doesn't respond to what you wish for. It responds to what you declare. Imagine two people starting the same journey. One keeps saying, "Nothing ever works for me." The other says, "I'm learning how to make things work." They both face setbacks, rejection, and doubt, but their outcomes couldn't be more different. The first person, without realizing it, is programming their future with defeat. Every repetition digs a deeper groove of hopelessness. The second person, however, is giving their future direction. They're speaking forward, not backward. They're sending signals into tomorrow that say, "Keep moving, I'm on my way." Months later, one gives up, the other grows. Same challenges, different language, different destiny. Words have energy that doesn't just vanish after you speak them. They linger. They create patterns in your behavior, and those patterns become your life. When you tell yourself, "I'm too late," your mind stops searching for opportunity. But when you tell yourself, "My time is coming," you start preparing for it. You start walking differently, thinking differently, and when your moment finally arrives, you're ready. Your words have already built the bridge between now and what's next. There's an old saying, "Your tongue is the pen that writes your future." Every sentence is a stroke of ink across the pages of your destiny. The way you talk to yourself in quiet moments, when no one else can hear, matters more than the words you say out loud. If you keep speaking fear, you'll live in it. If you keep speaking faith, you'll grow into it. You are, in every moment, teaching your future how to treat you. I once met a woman who used to say, "Good things never last for me." And she was right, not because she was cursed, but because her words kept pushing blessings away. After years of struggle, she decided to change her language. Every morning she started saying, "I'm open to receiving good things that stay." It felt strange at first, almost uncomfortable, but over time, her world started reflecting those words. She attracted better people, steadier opportunities, deeper peace. Her life didn't transform because of luck. It transformed because she began speaking to her future differently. Every time you say, "I am becoming," your future leans in closer. It listens, it adjusts, it prepares. The universe responds to conviction. Life echoes the energy you send into it. So if your words today are full of fear, your future will mirror that fear. But if your words are filled with power, faith, and direction, your future will bend toward that energy. That's why you must speak to your life like someone who knows it's listening. Because it is. Every I'm becoming, every "I will rise" becomes a signal that lights the path ahead, guiding you toward the person you were always meant to be. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine waking up tomorrow as the version of yourself you've always dreamed of being. Strong, focused, peaceful, unshakable. That version of you is not far away. It's waiting just one sentence away. I am becoming the person I've always wanted to be. That's not just a phrase. It's a doorway. Every time you say it, you're stepping closer to the life you were meant to live. Don't wait for the right time. There is no right time. The right time is the moment you decide to speak differently, to think differently, to believe differently. The future doesn't arrive someday. It begins now. Every "I am becoming," you whisper tonight, is a seed planted in the soil of your tomorrow. Speak it until you feel it. Feel it until you live it. Live it until it becomes undeniable. Remember this. Your life listens to your language. Your destiny responds to your declaration. Your world bends to the words you choose. So choose them like your future depends on them, because it does. Say it again, not with doubt but with power. I am becoming the person I've always wanted to be. Say it when you're tired. Say it when you're scared. Say it when no one believes in you. Because the moment you speak those words with conviction, the universe begins to rearrange itself in your favor. Change isn't coming. Change is happening. It's breathing in your words. It's moving in your heart. It's waiting in your next sentence. Your support means everything if this resonated with you. Please like, share, and subscribe. So tonight, when you walk away from this moment, carry this truth with you. Your words create worlds, and your future is listening. Because the future doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to the ones who speak it into existence. Thank you for being here. See you in the next one.